What's up guys? This weekend I am going to Memphis to film an MMA event, and I just wanted to kind of show you guys a little bit of my setup and my approach to filming a sporting event like this. So I have basically a two camera setup. One is going to be more mobile, and I'm only going to use it like when people are walking into the arena, and then when I'm in the cage filming, like before the fight when they're introducing people. And then my main setup that I'll be using during the actual fighting is going to be this setup right here, and it'll be stationary, pressed right up against the cage, ringside. So I'll start with this one. So right here I've got my Canon 1DX Mark II, and I have a Canon 24-70 2.8 on there. And so the biggest thing that probably stands out here is this giant screen that I have on top. And the reason I have this giant screen is because filming MMA, it's very fast paced and it's very difficult to make sure that things are in focus. So I can't really rely on the autofocus on this camera for video for MMA. So the reason I use this big screen that has focus peaking, and that is when your image is showing up on the screen, it outlines whatever's in focus in white, and it'll allow me to pull focus manually while the fight's happening and make sure I can keep things in focus. So this screen is great for stuff like this. And the only thing I'm really gonna change as I'm filming is ISO. Everything else is gonna stay pretty much the same. These types of tripods are really the most sturdy out of like any type of tripod. And I need that because I have one, it's just such a heavy setup on here. And two, I might be zoomed in like all the way across the cage and it's action and I'm moving fast and I want everything to look fluid and not be like bouncy or jittery. So I want the strongest tripod I can get. So this one's pretty great. It's a Benro tripod and a Manfrotto head. So as you can see, there's a lot more here than just the camera body and the screen. I have a small rig cage that's fit all the way around the camera body, and this allows me to mount a lot of different things onto the camera that I normally couldn't. So this screen is on one of these 15mm poles. They're super strong, carbon fiber. And I also have another one here because sometimes I'll put like a Rode mic on here. The reason I'm not going to use one for the fights is I'm filming everything in 120 frames per second and there's no audio, so there's no need for it. So that's going to be my main setup. This lens is literally going to be pressed like right up against the fence in the cage. I'm going to be like as close to the action as I possibly can be. And it'll be stationary. I'm not going to try to move this during the event. I'll get my spot early and just kind of stay there with this the whole night. And then next to me, I'm going to have on the ground my handy Glidecam, and I've got the Canon C100 Mark II body on here and a 16-35 2.8 lens on it. And yes, this is very, very freaking heavy. It gets very tiring, but luckily, the only time I use this is when the fighters are coming out and they're gonna walk through the crowd. I am right in front of their face, filming them all the way as they're coming down in between the crowd, and then they walk up to get patted down by the commission and get Vaseline on their face, and I'll kind of film that. And then as they run up into the cage, I might get a shot of that. I'll follow them into the cage, and once both guys are in the cage, I'll get kind of tight shots of them as they're staring each other down, as the announcer's like calling their names and introducing them. I get really good dramatic shots there in the cage because there's all the lights on them, and I can get up really close and just get all that emotion, the sweat, and you get really like epic shots at that point. My style is really all about smooth moving cinematic shots, and I've always used Glidecam. I just like the look a lot more than electronic gimbals. Mechanical gimbals don't do any of that electronic overcorrecting movements. It's all just going to be natural and smooth, and whatever I do, however I'm moving, that's how the camera is going to move. I just think it looks a lot more natural. Also, as you can see, I have this giant light mounted on top here. And I love this light because one, it can go multiple color temperatures. There's a dial where I can go all the way from warm 3200 all the way up to daylight. And it also has a little dial to turn up the intensity, and it's just super easy. I've got it mounted on this heavy duty arm right here, and I can adjust the angle of it if I need to, but I want it pretty much just aimed straight as streamlined as possible down the length of the camera, so that it doesn't throw the Glidecam off. So I'm going to be shooting everything in 1080p 60, so I can get like not super slow, but like pretty good, nice, slow, epic shots of people walking in and in the cage. So everything will be in 60 frames per second on this camera, and then 120 frames per second on the other camera. So this is my whole camera setup. It's pretty simple. I just have the two bodies, and I'm going to be swapping in and out between them. And then another thing that I always try to capture is good audio, and that's pretty complicated when you're at a giant event in an arena with like the crowd. So I'm gonna have this audio recorder plugged into the truck recording everything that's on the TV feed, like the commentator mics. And then I have this one plugged into the in-house mixer recording the announcer mic. And the final piece of audio that I'm gonna be doing is this little Tascam. I'm gonna have this, I'm probably gonna move it around a little bit, but I'm basically just going to be recording the nat sounds, like the audience reactions to the fights. So I might have it on the table next to me where I'm filming, or I might stick it over in a different area just to get different crowd ambiance and the cheers of the crowd when there's a knockout or something like that. So that's my full gear setup for MMA. Please click that subscribe button down below and leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought of this type of video, or if you have any ideas for any other types of videos or things that you'd like to see involving gear, how we shoot different things, or any of our setups. Thanks for watching.